This podcast is a part of the Podmania podcasting network. Check out podmania.co.uk to check out more of our great podcasts, features, reviews, match ratings and previews spanning the crazy and diverse world of professional wrestling. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of the Stardom Cast, your now weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom right here on the Podmania podcasting network. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin, and I am joined, as ever, by the beautiful, majestic Christopher O'Brien. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. I had a weird argument on a dating site recently. Well, not a weird one, but it's weird for me because you know how I don't like Jurassic Park that much, and I feel really annoyed about that because before people were shouting at me going, how the fuck have you never seen Jurassic Park? And I've seen Jurassic Park, didn't like it, and people are like, well, how the fuck do you not like Jurassic Park? And it's like, people are angry at me either way, and just this way I've wasted 2 hours in a shit film. But so she was ended up talking about movies, told her about my thing, told her about my list because I love my list. And so when I showed it to her, went down. She was like commenting on the list as she went down. Then got to the bottom, going, "Why the fuck is Jurassic Park so bad?"
I don't know what I'm more surprised at here. The fact that you had an argument on a dating site, or the fact that you actually showed a girl you were looking to date or looking for something more, you actually showed her your list.
I'm sorry, but at this point, I've come to the realization that if I don't show people my weird side fairly early, when they find it, they leave after I feel connected, no matter whether or not it's dating or friendship. So I'm just sort of like, I'm just going to show my weird straight away.
Just go all in. This is me.
I'm an inherently compulsive weirdo. So eventually they're just going to meet me going, why are you putting like your guitar picks in a circle? And I can't explain why. I just do it.
Just sitting. This is how I do things.
No, it's how I do things. I have to have my coffee out of the same kind of mug, otherwise I get the ratio off. Everything has to be in alphabetical order. But it's just how things are done.
In not really in the sort of same vein, because I don't think you'll understand this, but when iTunes was a big thing, before all your modern streaming sites or your Spotify's.
Back when music was ownership based instead of access based. I've written essays on this shit. Don't sit there and pretend, you don't know what iTunes is for young'un. Jesus Christ.
Fucking Napster.
That's my fucking... I had LimeWire as a kid. That fucked up my computer.
Oh, yeah. It was a walking virus thing, that was.
I weirdly got into ABBA and I downloaded something that said Mamma Mia, and it was just Bill Clinton going, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. However, you can get great deals at techfordeals.com. Makes sense.
So yeah, when iTunes was big, I had, obviously, my iTunes library was absolutely fucking enormous, and I couldn't turn my laptop off until all the songs were rated, all the song names had capital letters where they needed to have capital letters, all the album artwork was right, all of the songs, all of the composers were right, so they all had to have the actual songwriting credits in there. And they, most importantly, it all had to fit on my screen so that I could see it all. That ate into a lot of my fucking time. I'm not gonna lie. And now Apple are just getting rid of iTunes, just dismissing it like a husk, like a tired husk, Chris.
To be fair, I've been spending a lot of my time recently putting together my 1997 spreadsheet.
That is true. How both sad and accomplished are you going to feel come the end of the 1997 project?
Well, I was thinking about this the other day because I made it through Psycho Sid versus Undertaker at WrestleMania, and I'm like, if I can make it through this, I'm finishing the project.
If I can make it through this, I can make it through anything.
To be fair, like there's been some like proper great stuff. But like finally got some Joshi in there, keep it relevant. Finally got some Joshi in there. Manami Toyota versus what's her name Ito. That was great. She got a table thrown at her foot. It was weird. But then you had like because for some reason I was, despite not liking WWF, especially in '97, thought I'm gonna watch every like WWF and WCW title match just so people don't like think by people I mean like me and possibly Garth think I'm like skipping over WCW because I'm a Mark. And then I watched like 5 Psycho Sid matches from the month of March, and I'm like. He was shite, wasn't he?
Yeah. I'm not even going to pull the Garth argument where Garth was like he was a draw in the 90s in like 92.
In 1992, it was a big man versus Hulk Hogan. You could have put fucking Giant Gonzalez there and it would have drawn.
I mean, we both know that's not true. Look at 1993.
I know that's not true, but we both also know that WrestleMania 8 was fairly ticketed and like the only Mania that was as much as a fail as that one at that point was Mania 7 because they put Sergeant Slaughter in the fucking main event. I'm not going to sit here and hear he's a draw. He's not. He's shit. And I'm glad he broke his leg and retired. Damn, I'm that angry at having to watch that many Psycho Sid matches.
Fucking hell. Right, okay. That is the most passionately anyone has ever ranted about Psycho Sid. That's the most passion I've ever heard anyone talk about Psycho Sid, ever.
Well, like, most people probably weren't watching Raw back in 1997.
So yeah, anyway, aside from Chris's random 1997 OCD project, we are here to talk about some Stardom. Now, originally we were obviously going to record this on Sunday, but the whole Tag League Night 6 from Korakuen hadn't been uploaded to the site when we decided to move it to Tuesday, and then the bastards put it all on literally as I sent the tweet out. So, sorry about that, but we're here now, so we're going to talk about Nights 5 and 6 of the Tag League. But before we do that, Chris, some really, really good news to come out of Stardom. And this is probably one of the best things that's come out of Stardom in a while. And that is that Syuri has signed officially with Stardom and is no longer a freelancer. And that takes effect from the 1st of November. How fucking happy are you about that?
I'm happy. Like, in terms of, like, as a viewer, with the exception of now Syuri has a chance of actually winning a title match, a singles title match, I should say, nothing really is going to change, apart from some people are going to lose out on Syuri, but I don't care about those people because we get Syuri, so I'm fine with that.
I'm going to say a lot of good things about Syuri during this podcast because, honestly, every time she's in the ring, she just impresses me more and more and more. The caliber of matches that she is able to have with people, like the Starlight, jumping ahead, the match that her and Mayu have with Syuri and Natsupoi, it just goes to show that she fought 2 very different matches. She fought the match with Mayu and she fought the match with Starlight. 2 very different styles and looked amazing. And I've actually put in my notes that Syuri could fight a rake and still get a 7-star match from me. Because she's that fucking good. She sells. She makes her opponents look amazing. And this, for me, is one of the biggest gets that Stardom could possibly have. Because you're absolutely right, Chris. Any sort of hamstringing from getting titles by the fact that she was a freelancer has completely gone now. And I can only see amazing things for her. Because she's just captivating in everything that she does. So I look forward to seeing what they do with Syuri moving forward. I think next year could be a very, very big year for Syuri.
Yeah, could very much be. Because, you know, she's great and DDM are basically LIJ in terms of how hot we are by Stardom standards. So, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's get into the Tag League itself then. Let's start with Night 5 from the 25th of October. I believe this is the first time that Stardom have run Gunma from all the pre-match promos that we got. It was from Maibashi, from the Yamada Green Dome Maibashi sub-event arena. Jesus Christ, that's a mouthful. In front of 237 people. First, Chris, what did you think of the arena? And secondly, did you enjoy, in the main event, Mayu going up for the frog splash and then realising just how fucking close she was to the ceiling?
It you know, it reminded me of. I went to an ICW show in Edinburgh, and where was it? It doesn't really matter the venue, but I'll send you a clip actually because it like there's parts of it on YouTube. One because you can see me in front row. Two, it was like in a nightclub, as where ICW normally runs. Well, doesn't know anyway. And the lights were literally like high enough so like when someone like Wolfgang went to the top, he almost banged his head on the fucking lights.
It was just the fact that Mayu went up to the top, touched the ceiling, and her arms weren't fully outstretched, and you're like, Jesus Christ, she's a bit close to that. And she just apparently just discarded that information and still jumped really, really high, and it was like, oh my God. Like, there was no way that she wasn't going to hit it, and somehow she avoided it.
So, like, you know how the Pokemon Wobbuffet isn't actually the thing in the front, it's the tail?
I didn't know that, but sure.
I sometimes feel that's May.
yeah, I get that. So we started with tag team action, not tag league action. Match 1, the Oedo Tai team of Saki, Kashima, and Konami defeating Rina and Gokiken Death at 8 minutes and 19 seconds with my emblem. Now, obviously I watched the shows in order, and my first note for this was I wish they would acknowledge the dissolution of Tokyo Cyber Squad. Now, what I mean by that is, I understand that Rina is 14, and she is going to be fantastic. I think she's incredibly charismatic for her age. I think she's got really good things in her future. And I understand that Gokiken Death, she's like a Pokemon, she can only say the word death. But there's been no acknowledgement from anyone about the fact that Tokyo Cyber Squad, this faction that everyone loved, that Konami threw away. It's Konami's fault. No one has said anything. And I imagine that we are, as soon as Jungle is recovered from her injuries, whenever that is, get well soon, Jungle, obviously, we are going to head into an enormous Konami versus Jungle feud, which is going to be nice. But there was nothing here. It was just your typical opening promo of, I am looking forward to taking on Konami and Saki Kashima, babyface. There was nothing. There was nothing the fact that I was part of Tokyo Cyber Squad and on the opposing team is someone who effectively threw it away. And I know it's a nothing tag match, and I know that, it's Rina, she's 40, I know it's Death, she's a clown, but there should be something there, and it's a very small thing. I mean, the match, there's nothing to talk about in this match, which is why I'm focusing on this. And obviously, with the events that take place in the opening of Night 6, it sort of makes a little bit more sense. But are you surprised that there hasn't been more acknowledgement of the fact that, shit, Tokyo Cyber Squad isn't anymore?
I think that kind of got derailed when Jungle got injured.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
And because when you're going to acknowledge that at that point, you kind of need a feud, and I don't think Death feels any strong emotions other than ennui, and Rina's 14 again. So in terms of the TCS left and after Konami's defection, there's not really anyone. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. I think this might be brought up more when Jungle comes back, at least with the Konami beef. So.
Yeah, maybe. It was something that I hadn't really noticed up until this match. And I think it sort of stems from the fact that up until these two shows, they hadn't really done anything with Konami, and I was sort of in a very sort of bullish mood of well, what the fuck was the point in turning Konami if they're not going to do anything with it? And then obviously they did. So looking at this match, there's not a lot really to talk about, aside from the fact that Gokiken Death making Konami laugh isn't exactly great for the Konami gimmick, is it?
What I did like at the start of this match was when Death was doing the whole thing, and then Saki and Konami just walk behind Death, and Death turns around and is so happy to see them. Just turns around and is like, Death! It's like a fucking when they knock on the door and there's a dog in the house.
I mean, the fact that she got really scared of Oedo Tai throughout the match and just started running away shouting "Scared Death." Just what are we watching?
I'm still not used to this.
Exactly, what are we watching?
Like, it gets worse in night 2, but I'm still not used to it.
It gets full on nightmarish on night 2. Rena looked okay here. She was a bit sloppier than I'm used to. You know, every time I've seen Rena in the ring, I've always been really... Again, I know she's 14, okay? I know. I'm not expecting Mayu-level matches from Rena at age 14, but even so, it was a nothing match with nothing really going on. It went a long time for something that wasn't really that important as well. 8 minutes and 19 seconds. I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, I just gave it 3 stars, mate.
I gave it 4. I felt nothing, but I didn't feel it was actively bad. But that's sort of a running theme throughout this show, at least, is like giving a lot of time to some weird matches. Like this next one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we move on to that next match, which was Crazy Bloom, the team of Giulia and Maika, defeating Riho and Hina at 12 minutes exactly with the Sazanka. Again, not Goddess of Stardom Tag League action. Aside from Giulia finding it difficult to articulate that it was in fact Hina and Riho they were fighting, not Hina and Rena, this was another match that didn't really do anything.
Yeah, like there's not a lot to talk about here, is there?
It centered very much around sort of Hina's resilience in the face of having the absolute shit beaten out of her by Maika, but even that was slightly marred by the fact that Maika tried to get Hina up for some manner of brainbuster, couldn't get her up the first time, then got her up the second time, but even as she got her up, I was like, she hasn't quite got that. And then pretty much dropped Hina on her fucking head. And you could tell, like, the match was only another couple of seconds long, but you could tell it had proper rocked Hina.
Which is... Yeah, that wasn't great. This match shouldn't have been as long as it had, and... yeah, as you said, sloppy from both. But it's weird that, it's just a weird match. And beyond it being sloppy, there's nothing to talk about. Like this, again, this is sort of a theme of a lot of the show. Even booking-wise, there's not a ton to talk about on this first show because it seems at random there was no sort of symmetry between like the pairings, with the exception of like the top 3 matches, because 2 of them were tag league matches and the other one had B. Priestley continuing to be a dick to Momo. So
yeah, absolutely. I will say on a positive note that Giulia and Rio had good chemistry for the limited time they were in ring together, and I'll never not be there for the cool double team float over DDT dropkick combo that Riho does, which she does really crisply and it looks really cool. But yeah, aside from that, it is a nothing undercard match, because it's not even like it's a warm-up to the tag league, because Crazy Blue have already taken on Colour Me Pop, and Hina's not in it. So yeah, very strange match, but there we are. I gave it 5 just because it was there.
Yeah, again, there's nothing to... It was just another match.
It was.
Even like these last few matches... where like Giulia or Maika or anyone from DDM, we've always at least be able to like pull out personality moments. There wasn't really any personality moments in this one.
No, I think it was in an attempt to put over Maika as a dominant monster, which, again, putting her against a pairing like Hina and Riho, both who were quite slender, both who were more suited, especially Riho to the high-speed division, and obviously Hina, who's still a child. Putting her against them are the people that she's going to dominate, but I don't know. Obviously, Maika's still, in the grand scheme of things, relatively green, and Hina is still green as well, so perhaps not the best partnership. But yeah, wasn't exactly compelling viewing, let's put it that way. Match 3 then, and this is Goddesses of Stardom Tag League action with the team of Grab the Top, Syuri and Himeka, defeating Winggori, which is Saya, Ida and Hanan, at 10 minutes and 55 seconds with the running powerbomb. This was another really good Winggori match, who have, even in the loss of the 3 matches, so they lost to Momo AZ, they lost to Grab the Top, and they lose come night 3 to Dream H. They've put on 3 very, very good matches.
Yeah, they work really well together, especially in like Saya's case. Is a case of we know you're not going to win, but like we appreciate the effort. It's a Homner type charisma that Ida has, where you sort of like, oh, you're trying really really hard, but it's for nothing.
I thought this drew quite a lot of parallels to their Momo AZ match, where you've got the one very cocky, complacent member of the team who very nearly loses it for her team by being arrogant, complacent, not taking Saya Ida, seriously. And that person was Himeka. Himeka throughout this match was very much a case of, what the fuck is this? Piss off. Basically, I've got better things to do with my time. Don't you know I've got a title shot next week? But ultimately, I've enjoyed the pairing of Hanan and Sayarida. You got Sayarida, who is very much the brawn of the team, very much chop heavy power moves, whereas you've got Hanan, who in this and especially the night 6 match, throwing out some really, really good, crisp submission moves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all very clean, isn't it?
Well, there was a moment in this where Saya rolls through from a torture rack facebuster into a pinning attempt, and it looked beautiful, looked really, really good. And I did give Sayarida a bit of shit last podcast after her and Tam's pretty disastrous match at Korakuen. But I thought here she was brilliant, and again, on night 6, she was great as well. I will say, I do not envy anyone taking the double team from Saya and Himeka, where Himeka is on the top rope and Saya sort of just Sayuri just sort of throws her onto the person on the floor. It looked horrendous. I think it was Saya Ida that took it, and it just looks horrendous to take. Like, really unpleasant.
I half imagined it to be like a Looney Tunes thing where she's like 30 feet under the ground going, damn it.
Like when Loki's in the Avengers and he's in that big hole after the Hulk smashes him into the ground. That is what I imagine to happen.
Actually, I'm thinking it's like Civil War when Vision sends Hawkeye halfway down the Avengers building.
Overall, another really, really good outing for Hanan and Saida. Himeka and Sayuri look like badasses. No one's hurt here. Really, really good match. Really crisp, really smooth. Best match of the night so far. I gave it 7. I thought really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, this was really fun stuff, especially compared to sort of the nothing that came towards that. I was sort of starting to feel very negative about the show. And then this match sort of kicked off the show actually being worth it. So I definitely going to skip to this match if you're going to watch this show.
Absolutely. Right, match 4. We had the Queen's Quest team of Momo Watanabe and Utami Hayashishita defeating Natsuko Tora and B. Priestley of Oedo Tai at 14 minutes and 19 seconds via DQ. Obviously it was going to be fucking DQ.
I was enjoying this. I was really enjoying this match. B. Priestley, whilst very derivative of a lot of people, is getting better, especially with her timing. Momo and Utami, always good, and Natsuko Tora is a good bullish type when used sparingly, which she kind of was in this match. And then that fucking chain came out. Natsuko Tora has made me hate anything to do with chains, and as a Fleetwood Mac loving degenerate, that is a bad thing.
Honestly, Chris, you've echoed pretty much all of my notes for this match. Literally, the ending takes this match from a potential 8 to a 6. And that's being generous. I mean, honestly, it's just... It spoiled a belt. B playing that detestable heel. Like, she plays it really, really well. And while the exchanges with Momo are amazing, they emphasize, like you say, just how much she has improved in ring. Even when she held the red belt, I feel like she has improved in ring. And will she ever hold the red belt again? No, I don't think she will. And I don't think she should. I think she should challenge for it. I don't think she will ever be the top person in Stardom again. But I could absolutely see her hold the white belt and be that dickhead heel that everyone aspires to beat we've had quite a few baby faces holding it, a couple of tweeners holding it. Having B hold it, I think I certainly wouldn't be opposed to it, Chris.
With Priestley, my thing is I'm very open to the idea of her being able to win the belt, but I'm not open to the idea of her winning the belt, if that makes sense. Like, I want it to be very plausible that she could win any title challenger, but I don't want her to hold the belt, at least not for another while, like at least not until like middle of next year, if we're being like at the very earliest.
No, I understand that. I do understand that. Did it surprise you that she does hold a championship already in Stardom this soon after coming back?
What, the SWA belt? Well, if we were setting up this New Japan thing, then no, because it's good. You want to have a championship on New Japan programming and be doing this cross promotion thing, but you also don't want to lose like one of your actual championships. And the SWA belt is fairly aesthetically pleasing, so it works for that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just happy Oka came down from the mountains, to be honest.
We missed you, Oka. I never actually asked what you thought of the whole B. Priestley thing in New Japan. Do you like it? I mean, there's been chats on our Discord I was reading. There was about 5 billion messages when I went on the other day. And, there was talk of potentially a mixed tag at Wrestle Kingdom on one of the nights. I think I saw Will and B versus Momo and Okada, which I certainly wouldn't be opposed to. I'd be interested to see a dynamic of Momo and Okada. And with Okada and Will, you would assume that is main card worthy, which means that you have some Stardom exposure on the main card. However, I know that B. Priestley is not to everyone's taste. And I'm fully aware of that. And she was not to my taste on night 6. In fact, she fucking wound me up. But I can understand the appeal. It's cross-promotion. I don't think it's doing much damage at all, really. I understand if you don't like B, the last thing you want to see is more B. Priestley on New Japan. But it's only going to be a good thing for Stardom to have that exposure. And having B with Will at the moment, it's pretty much nailed on that we're going to get a Stardom match at Wrestle Kingdom, especially with New Japan putting on 2 nights. I mean, I would say if we're looking percentages, you're looking at 90% certain, surely, Chris.
Yeah, like, I don't know why you'd have her there if you weren't going to have her involved in some way. Honestly, keeping Okada out of, especially after that fucking G1 he had, keeping him out of main event pictures, I think is only a good thing. He needs some fucking time to recover. He's very clearly breaking down. In terms of, like, would I be happy to see more crossover? I guess. I'm not really watching New Japan right now because I've ranted about this so much since I saw it. Another Evil Naito match. Are you kidding me? I'm just sort of done with the whole thing, at least until Wrestle Kingdom. But yeah, if I was Stardom, that wouldn't be my go-to. But like, I get New Japan probably aren't going to want to have that crossover without them in it somehow. I'm not quite sure how they'd introduce Momo into that situation.
Yeah, that's my... I mean, obviously, the feud at the moment is Momo and B. So that would make sense. However, if you're looking for, not a better parallel, you're looking at Okada and Mayu, the 2 top guys, or top people, should I say, in the company. But
they're both aces, but I don't see Mayu. I see Mayu as more of a Tana than a Okada.
I see her as like more Momo.
I see him more as a fucking maniac.
Yeah, just a fucking neck. God.
Yeah, just no regard. But like, the difference between Mayu and Ibushi is Mayu has a brain. So
that's true.
Well, actually, sometimes it's questionable. Those 2 would get on. But yeah, I guess it's not the worst way to have crossover. Like, it's probably better than having a title match where whoever's in it's going to win, or like some random tag. This way, like, you could actually get the personality of Momo over, and like, personalities are probably what's going to draw you to go, okay, why not check out Stardom if I haven't checked out? But I don't know. I can't tell you anything about New Japan's booking because like I've not even finished for G1 yet. So
yeah, fair enough. Sort of coming back to this match, Utami looked great. Really building it towards that Sendai show. Deadlifting Tora into a Samoan drop is not fucking easy, and she made it look like it was. So proper props to that. That made me pop. And yeah, like we said, Chris, just the stupid, just so contrived, so tired, so trotted out every single fucking Oedo Tai match. I'm done with it, and I tune out. And I have got a little mini rant prepared for night 6, so keep your eye out for that. But aside from that, it was a good in-ring match up until the ending, and I think as soon as Oedo Tai get these endings sorted and actually realise that you can actually end matches, still look like heels without the same thing over and over and over again. Once they realise that, especially now they've added B. Priestley and Konami, once Jamie Hayter comes back as well, you are going to have a very strong faction that people are going to be into. And I know, they're a heel faction, you're not supposed to be into it. Yeah, but they're not supposed to make me physically want to turn the product off.
No, that's the thing. Like, people so often conflate actual heat with go away heat. Like, for example, if someone, say you're at an indie show and someone goes up to a kid and says something stupid, that's fine. If someone goes up to a kid and goes, "You're adopted," you're probably not going to like him very much.
No, there is a very big difference. And at the moment, Oedo Tai don't have heat. They have fucking hell on board heat, and they need to sort that.
Like, whereas most things in Stardom has, like, won me over, Oedo Tai has yet to at all do that. And, like, it's weird because their biggest problem right now is their leader.
I disagree. I do disagree. Tora is great in ring. She displayed that here. Throughout that, we've both said how good this match was because both Momo and B matched up really well, and Natsuko Tora and Utami matched up really, really well. And even when we had the odd change in that dynamic, it was still really good. And Tora is good in ring. The problem is the finish. The finish to a match. And we seem to have this horrible misconception that to be a heel, we have to finish the match by fucking up our opponents. We don't care about the end of the match. That's not what this is. I compare them to Suzuki-gun. Suzuki-gun don't get disqualified every single fucking match. The odd match, fine. But not every fucking match. And it's starting to get to a point now where I see them on a card and I don't want to watch the match. And that's not heat for me. That's not, oh, look how good heels they are. That's wank booking. And that needs to change. Because Oedo Tai are, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst thing about Stardom.
Thing is, Kagetsu used to have that energy, but like she'd use it to like actually fuck up her opponents.
Yeah, they hugely miss Kagetsu and Hazuki. Massively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
like you can have that energy, but like Kagetsu use that energy to sort of feel like a final boss.
Yeah, exactly. You saw Kagetsu as a fucking threat. And Tora, at the moment, you're just like, well, I'm going to get a win here because she's going to get self-DQ'd.
But with Tora's case, like, if she did somehow get a title shot, I'd be like, well, she's going to get DQ'd anyway. So, like, Space Flames for the only really good Tora match recently is for one at Yokohama because there was no DQ.
Yeah, I mean, we did say also the match that they had with Momo Izzy in, I think it was night 3, of the Stardom Tag League, because Queen's Quest threw the weapons away and Utami and Saya Kamitani ran away with them, which was great. Yeah. That was, and it made for a far better match. And we spoke volumes about how without these tired tropes, they were forced to put on a very, very good match. And here they just went back to everything that I'm bored with. Also, I don't know who put B. Priestley so fucking close to the ring microphone, but all I could hear was a voice during this. Every single word that B. Priestley said, oh my God, shut the fuck up. I mean, there was a hilarious moment when she had the chair and the ref's trying to take the chair off her and she was like, don't touch my things. That really made me laugh. I don't know why, it just made me chuckle. But yeah, To go 14 minutes, to invest 14 minutes of my time into this and to not get a fucking finish, just fuck off, man.
What did you think of Priestley's post-match promo? Because I find it really weird that she just throws in random Japanese phrases, like in the middle of an English promo, and like it's weird because like people like Omega used to do that and it didn't bother me, but he was seemed to be doing it as part of a heel act, whereas B Priestley sort of just comes off as a massive weeb. Like she reminds me of that one person I knew at school who like would just drop in the random Japanese phrases they knew. Like they'd be like, what was it? It's like like I showed my niece might have just been born and I showed them a picture of my niece and they were like, oh, kawaii. I'm like, you son of a why?
Just because you know it's in Japanese doesn't make you better than me.
It's like I know some German. I don't say Scheiße when I want to say shite. I just say shite. And then I got chucked out of the classroom because it's school, but you know.
Damn it, I should have said Scheiße. They are relatively entertaining. She does need to come up with something slightly different than you suck or you're crap, because she just sounds like someone in year 5 who hasn't quite learned how to swear yet. And just...
Oh, my nieces are at that stage.
Exactly, and...
My nieces have started shouting poo you at me, and I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Exactly. B Priestley is a step away from doing that. You are poo, Momo.
Yeah.
And I just go back to that Giulia promo where she says, you think all the time she spent in Japan she'd learn some other Japanese fucking phrases. Which, you know what? Absolutely right, Giulia. Yeah, you fucking would think that.
It reminds me of when Jamie Hayter came out to challenge Arisa last year for the white belt. And Arisa's just sort of looking around going, what did she say?
Help me. Somebody help me.
But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I think you should either like commit to English in your promo or Japanese, because like it's definitely implying that no matter what language you're speaking, Momo understands what you're saying. And at the very least, it's not very hard to communicate that. Because basically whenever Priestley says the insult, Momo needs to freak out. So you just tell Momo what the insult is and then she'll cue it to freak out then. Like, I don't know. I think throwing in random Japanese, there's no reason for it and it's it's distracting for me as an English speaker. I imagine it's also really distracting for the Japanese audience, but I can't speak to that. But like, it does mean you need to subtitle her promos too, which I find funny.
Just, yeah, a very anticlimactic ending, and then it was topped off with a very anticlimactic promo. 6 stars. We've spent far too much time talking about Oedo Tai because we're going to end up speaking about them again when it comes to night 6. You have been
warned.
Very
happy this is week. You're very happy this is weekly now.
God, I think I'm going to give myself a heart attack. Jesus. So main event then of night 5 was another tag league match with MK Sisters defeating Dream H at 14 minutes and 49 seconds with the Dragon Suplex. Chris, what did you think of this match?
This was good. I'm still questioning some of Shiakawa's and Tam's moves, like the DDT thing. What is the point of Tam in like the implant DDT bit? Because that's how they land anyway.
I think it's more for elevation, and therefore it compresses the neck more, because she does hold them higher than they would be from just a standing position. It's not a great deal of difference, I grant you, but I can look past it. There's enough of a change in it for me to just say, yeah, okay, I can take that.
If Tam was even like Mayu's height, I might buy into that. The thing is, I've drank out of glasses taller than Tam. So,
she's not the tallest.
No, she's not. And apart from that, yeah, Mina continues to be a good babyface in Peril, even when up against other babyfaces. I kind of like that she's trying to prove herself. She's still not the greatest, but she's steadily getting better, which is all you can really ask for. This is, apart from that, this was very much like the best hits of both people, sort of almost house show-esque, where they're just sort of bringing out what everyone wants to see, and then Shiakawa gets put away with a secondary finisher. No one of value has to take the pin, and then we didn't have to go through another draw. Which, by the way, spoiler alert, we managed to get through 2 whole Stardom shows without a draw.
Oh, I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed.
When was the last time that happened? Like, literally, when's the last time we had a Stardom podcast where we didn't talk about a fucking draw?
Let's not talk about it just in case we fucking jinx it.
Oh, we will jinx it, won't we?
I enjoyed this match. I really enjoyed this match, actually. Obviously, this is all centered about... It was, how did Mayu and Starlight put it, an assessment match for Mina Shirakawa to be a part of Stars. And I really enjoyed how, basically, her initiation was to see how long she could resist Mayu grinding her down into the mat. Literally just trying to... Like, she adopted a completely different submission game. There was very little striking to start off with. It was all guillotines, locks, Boston crabs, things like that. Basically trying to grind her down, almost torturing Mina. And they wanted to see if Mina had the resilience, the fire to make her a part of Stars. And I really enjoyed that because even Starlight Kid was getting in on the action as well. And you're absolutely right, Chris. We've spoken about this on previous podcasts about how Mina, her best position is as that babyface in power because she plays it so well. She does play she is a very, very good babyface. She really is. And I completely agree with you. Her offense is still a bit iffy. However, it is getting better. And noticeably better as well. I think she has a good chemistry with Tam. I don't like this whole boob thing. I think it's weird. I don't like it, and hopefully it fucks off after Tag League because it doesn't seem to add anything. I completely understand it's Shirakawa's gimmick, which, fine, but hopefully we get to a point where your gimmick is not just your boobs and people touch my boobs, because I don't want that in my wrestling. She should be over. By the end of this tag league, she should be over for a different reason than look at my boobs. Does that make sense? I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it in my wrestling. I think it's cheesy. I think it's corny. I don't think we need it at all. And it does nothing for Tam either.
I don't know. It got me this far in life.
What, being cheesy and corny?
Definitely not being corny. Yeah, no, I do agree. Honestly, half the time I don't notice it, but then when you point it out, it's like, oh yeah, that did happen.
I mean, they made it really, really fucking obvious. I can't remember when it was. Oh, it was during when it was night 6 when Tam's making that announcement, and she's just proper punching them. It's like, leave the fucking girl. Mina, bless her. She actually looks a little bit uncomfortable.
I mean, wouldn't you if someone was punching your tits?
Yes, I would. Leave my boobs alone. They're mine.
I'm gonna try and make it for our next wrestle trip. Have Garth do it, but you not remember. So it's just I'm like, Garth, are you doing it? I'm like, yes, mastermind right here.
I enjoyed the fact that Mayu had to escalate her offense progressively to finally put Mina away, and she escalated it, but didn't quite escalate it to the point of needing to use the two-step dragon or the dragon sleeper. She still had to escalate through a couple of moves before she got to one that finally put Mina away. But that resilience paid off. Mayu inducted her into Stars, so Mina is an official member of Stars. If she keeps putting in performances like this, where she is resilient, where she does show that fire, that passion, that I will not quit attitude, then she's going to get over. She's going to get over no matter what. So I want, but that can last a few months, but at some point you do need to level up, otherwise you get a Johnny Gargano situation. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I imagine, I think she's got 2 years ring experience. From what people have told me about Mina, she wasn't given a great deal of singles opportunity against your top talent in Tokyo Joshi Pro. So if she's in the ring with top level talent, people like Mayu, people like Tam, she is going to get better. She is going to learn and progressively make her way up that card and learn different things to do within ring psychology and learn to wrestle different matches. So that I'm not massively concerned about. That will come with time. If she's good enough to have been hired by Stardom, she will have it in her to progress. I don't have an issue with that. And we've seen it a little bit already. I mean, there was a match where me and you thought she was the absolute fucking drizzling shits towards the start. And it must have been night one of Tag League or something, and she was pretty ordinary, to put it mildly. However, the last couple of matches where she was facing Mayu and Starlight here, and then when she was facing Himeka and Sayuri and I believe Natsupoi in a 6-woman, I found myself really, really getting behind her. So, that's an improvement.
I didn't mean I didn't mean in terms of like improving just in ring a moment, and just like in terms of like what she already had, just her offense. I sometimes feel like she does need like a change of moveset, because that back fist, I'm sorry, like it's just not gonna get better, I think.
Yeah, well, again, I'm sure that she will progress. She'll add more offensive moves, because I completely agree with you. The Luthez press has become better. She's actually managed to get the surfboard in the last couple of times that she's done it. So
just drop the back fist and you're fine.
Drop the back fist, drop the weird sort of not crossbody where she just sort of taps you on the chest and you fall down, because that's also a bit shit.
The running shove.
Yeah, the running shove. Yeah, the running blow past. It's shit, so get rid of it. But overall, a really, really good outing for Mina. We didn't need to see a lot of offense, a lot of high impact offense from the others. I did think that the new sort of style from Mayu, the submission style, was good to see. And then again, like I say, the escalation of offense was really good and did Mina a load of favours. So again, I gave it a high 7. Didn't quite reach 8 for me, but it was a good, solid outing, especially for Mina.
Yeah, I'm feeling like a lowish mid-7, so yeah.
So let's move on then, because we've got lots to talk about. So we're going to move on to night 6, which is from Korakuen Hall in front of 472 people from the 29th of October. Now, before we get into anything, Chris, I just wanted to ask you, when the card for this night got announced, did you get excited about it? And did it strike you as not necessarily a world-beating card? And I know we spoke about this a little bit last podcast, but did it grab you and you think, fucking hell, I'm looking forward to this, 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 and this? Or did you sort of think, this seems like a average card?
I wasn't terribly excited for it, but mostly because Giulia versus Himeka didn't do anything for me in the 5-star. It didn't strike me as a world beater, but like I think the last time a Korakuen struck me as a world beater was back in January with 9th anniversary, which is still my Stardom show of the year. But yeah, apart from that, no, not really. Didn't strike me as amazing. But like also, I think I said this last week, Korakuen shows aren't really the Korakuen shows anymore in terms of like where they're trying to draw, because they need to run these bigger shows due to like the current circumstances. So I think that's literally just it, because we had 2 or 3 Korakuen shows afterwards, and that includes like No People Gate and Cinderella. So we didn't have that many normal Korakuens this year to begin with. So
no, and if we're going to look at attendances, and again, you should take attendance at the moment with a shovel full of sand, no matter pinch, because obviously with COVID restrictions and things in place. But I saw when this card was announced a lot of negativity about the card, and a lot of the negativity was leveled at the main event with Giulia and Himeka, and the fact that there was only 2 title matches, and one of them was the Future of Stardom title match. And that sort of brought about the conversation that we talked about last week about whether Korakuen shows are really Korakuen shows anymore, where Stardom's going, and sort of the attendances. And I just wanted to draw your attention to the attendances. So the attendance for the show was 472 people. To put that in some sort of comparison, the 5-star show from the 9th of August drew 402. The Korakuen show from the 28th of September drew 407 people. Now, this is considerably more people. It's not Stardom 5-star Grand Prix final, which drew 677, and then the night, which had Mayu versus Takumi, drew 586. So this is a very middling attendance, but to level that solely at Giulia and Himeka's drawing power, I think is extremely unfair. yes, I don't think this is the strongest Korakuen card. I don't think it's the weakest we've seen. We've seen quite a few weak Korakuen cards. That one that you mentioned, the 28th of the 9th show, wasn't exactly strong either. But I don't think it's fair to level the criticism at the drawing power of that main event. I think that main event is fine. I think it's a good match. I think only having 2 title matches is perhaps a little bit weak, especially when you consider it's the future of Stardom, and Maika and Sayo Kamatani are certainly not at the point in their careers when they can be considered draws. So I can sort of see it from there, but as proved by the drawing numbers, it didn't impact too heavily. I don't think people see it as a negative card.
Yeah, I think what also didn't help it was there's a lot of random tags on here. Like, there wasn't a ton of for the tag league. There's only 1 tag league match. Like, so aside from the 2 title matches and that, the rest of them were kind of just filler.
Yeah, the semi-main Starlight and Mayu versus Natsupoi and Suri, that was to set up the MK Sisters versus Grab the Top match, which took place today as we record on the 3rd of November. So that sort of makes sense. Also was a banging match, spoiler. But yeah, in terms of other matches, it was a bit meh. Okay. So let's start anyway. Match 1 was a 5-way, and we opened up with Rina defeating Ruaka, Gokiken Death, Saki Kashima, and Hina with a roll-up at 5 minutes and 19 seconds. Now,
very quickly, are you ready for Chris's conspiracy wall?
I'm always ready for a Chris conspiracy theory. Always.
Well, okay, so by process of, if we're going to decide who's the best in Stardom, we do need to look at wins and losses. Now, Death has beaten both Giulia and Mayu, which means they are now below Death. But Death was just beaten by Rina, meaning Rina is now best in Stardom.
I mean, your booking doesn't make sense and you should feel bad about it, but...
Rina for red. Okay. Also, I just need to get this part of the match like out of me. So, like, at some point, one of the children were in the middle, because most of this match were children, and the clown was playing with children.
It was Hina. And then, I know which bit you're going to talk about. And
then, like, Death held hands with the other 2 children. Saki was, I don't know, in clown hell. And then we did Ring a Rosie around that. And it's at that point I realised I fucking hate wrestling.
Yeah, it was very horror film, wasn't it? It was, I can't remember exactly what it's called. There's a Swedish sort of festival film where they go to a festival and it turns out to be this massive cult. And it sort of struck me as that, yeah, quite nightmarish, as I said earlier. But aside from that...
It reminded me of a TikTok.
God, I fucking hate TikTok.
It was like, someone was like doing, just like sitting in front of a camera and then suddenly changing back into the costume, and then over it was this random song where it just goes, boo, bitch, I'm a ghost, and it's great.
I think if you'd have put this on TikTok and then just had the din 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 din, but really slow, I think that would have legitimately made a great horror trailer.
I think we should like grain it like it was filmed in an old camera, and then put like lo-fi beats to study to over
it. If someone could do that, that'd be fucking great. Yeah, aside from this being Ruaka's first match back since the 8th of March at No Peoplegate, it was completely spoilt for her by Rina turning and joining Oedo Tai. I like having the spotlight on Rina. You are running a risk of stars becoming hugely over-bloated, especially with what's announced in the next match. So getting rid of some of the people from stars makes complete sense. As far as the children go, Rina is by far the most charismatic, so to put more of a spotlight on her makes complete sense. The turn was pretty poorly executed, I'm not going to lie.
It kind of just happened, didn't it?
There was no real lead up to it whatsoever, so yeah, in that regard it was pretty poorly executed, but I
Who's just like, bitch, I'm here.
yeah.
Bitch, I'm here now. Bye.
Yeah, but aside from that, Rina is now part of Oedo Tai. And yeah, aligned herself with Saki Kashima. And you saw the rest of Stars at ringside do absolutely nothing to stop her leave, and then just look either really confused in the eyes of Mayu or absolutely devastated in the eyes of Gokik and Death. A real range of emotion for the people at Stars at ringside. Are you a fan of Rina in Oedo Tai, Chris?
Yeah, she's probably just doing it so that like Oedo Tai have like an actual fall person. Because like as it stands, everyone's in some form of push. Or a Saki who they never really seem to want to pin.
Yeah, I think if Natsu Sumiya wasn't injured, she's pretty much that fall person. But obviously they don't have that at the moment. I understand from that point of view. I think it's nice to have the spotlight on her, though, because, like I say, something that she has that Hina doesn't is that charisma, and something that Rina has that Hanan doesn't have is that charisma, even if I do think that Hanan is better in ring.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on then. Let's move on to Tag League action. Again, the only Tag League match on this show, which saw Dream H defeat Winggori in 11 minutes, 48 seconds with a violet shooting. First things first, absolutely amazing name for the finisher. Second thing, another secondary finisher used to finish off an opponent, and it won't be the last on this card. Secondly, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, or thirdly, should I say, 1, 2, 3, that's how numbers work. Another outstanding outing for Winggori, who are quite quickly becoming the MVPs of this tag league.
Yeah, but we've had the most matches of anyone in the tag league, I think.
No, Momo AZ have had 4 matches, and then MK Sisters, Winggori, and Aphrodite are all at 3, and Dream H.
Okay, so I'm just stupid.
They're one of the most highly featured, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I've noticed them the most, and they've been good. I think they're mostly just great compared to expectations, and again, Saya Ida sort of brings a Homnet energy. Not in the sense of she's trying to murder herself, she's actually very safe, but beyond that. Hanan's getting a lot better. Like, she's still iffy in places, but again, for a 16-year-old, she's doing great.
Her opening salvo with Tam was brilliant. Her working the leg was really, really good, and it was coupled with the fact that Tam actually sold it really, really well. Whatever hoodoo or cocaine, as we discussed last time, which had been going on between Saya and Tam during the last Korakuen match, was completely gone here. They had really good chemistry. Everything went fine. Shirakawa obviously is now a part of Stars, but now needs to prove that she needs to belong in Stars, so what better way to prove that than being the hot tag? And in a match like this, I'm perfectly fine with Mina being the hot tag. However, ultimately, it's Tam that gets the finish by completely finisher spamming until Hanan stays the fuck down. But even that was put over. It's similar to the Dream H vs MK Sisters match the previous night. Even that was put over by how Tam was reacting by Hanan kicking out of everything. That real resilience. It was treated with real incredulity from Tam, which is great. I mean, some of the reversals from Hanan were really, really good. And, again, she's 16. She's going to be very, very good when she's older. So I'm over the moon for this. Enjoyed the fact that Tam won the match with something other than the Tiger Suplex. Overall, another really, really, really good showing. Post-match, Tam says that at the next Korakuen show, we'll be seeing a new member of Stars in the form of the mysterious ZZ. Yeah, no idea who the fuck this is going to be. I'm sure there are people that do know who it is, but I'm unfortunately not one of them. But yeah, we'll look to see. So we've just got rid of someone out of Stars, and we're going to put someone else in there.
I just like to imagine, it's like, quick, who do you have on WhatsApp? Someone text someone. We cannot be without 1 million fucking members.
Quick, we've got Zzz. Put Zzz in.
It's like when Danny Ricciardo left Renault in F1. It's like, quick, who knows Fernando Alonso?
Who's got Fernando's number? Yeah. So this match, right, match 3. I'm gonna rant. 6-woman tag, Queen's Quest, Momo Watanabe, Utami Hayashishita and Riho defeat Oedo Tai, Bea Priestley, Konami, and Tora by DQ in 9 minutes and 35 seconds. I just don't give a shit anymore, Chris. I've got... all I'm doing, whoever is facing Oedo Tai, I've got no emotional investment or sense of attachment to anything that they do whatsoever in this match, or in any of their matches, because all I'm doing is I'm waiting for the inevitable DQ. I can't get invested in how good an exchange is between Momo and Bea, or between Utami and Tora, or between Konami and Utami, because I just can't, because I'm waiting for the bullshit. I'm waiting for the DQ, and we're now programmed to just assume this is going to happen. And aside from that, this wasn't great in ring. There was an absolutely fucking horrific botch from a Uranagi from Bea and Momo. Had some sort of timing issue. Bea, she really wound me up in this match, because she made and this might just be me, I might be speaking completely out of line, and everybody else might just think I'm being ridiculous and I'm seeing things that aren't there. But in this match, it seemed to be the Bea Priestley show. Everything seemed to be about her. Her talking, her doing the moves, her on the outside stamping on people. She no-sold the Peach fucking Sunrise, which pissed me off. Momo hits the Peach Sunrise, goes for the 3 count, just as the ref's about to go for 3, Tora pulls the referee out. Bea is straight up and hits a B trigger. Like, literally the second the referee is out of the ring. No selling whatsoever. And then we get the fucking chain spot. Again. A hanging spot. Again. And the only fucking redeeming feature of this match is the fact that Bea Priestley, after hitting the Queen's Landing, the referee randomly decides, I'm going to DQ you this time. Okay, cool. It's utter bullshit. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And like I said to you before, I don't want to watch the Oedo Tai matches. I don't find them entertaining. I don't find them fun. I've got no sense of attachment to it. I don't care about their storylines. I don't care about anything they've got going forward. In fact, the only reason I want to watch her match with Syuri is because I want to watch Syuri paste her all around the ring. And I get that is good heel heat, but I sort of want it to happen in real life. So I'm so bored of every match being the same. And again, I think it's the fact that I can't watch it and enjoy it, because I'm just waiting for the ref bump. I'm waiting for the DQ. I mean, even Evil in the fucking G1, and he had a god-awful G1, and I will stand toe-to-toe with anyone that said he didn't. Even he had slightly different variations of his finish. These are all the fucking same. Every single fucking time. And no matter how good you are in the ring, we've spoken about how Bea Priestley's improved in the ring. Konami is fantastic. Tora, she's good in the ring when she's not using that fucking chain. But you can only polish a turd so much, because it will still be a turd. You can put as many good wrestlers in a ring as you want. If the booking is wank, the match will be wank. You've got Momo, Utami, Konami, who are 3 of the best workers in this company, and it was a match I couldn't give 2 shits about. It could have been for the fucking title, and I would not have given a fuck. And I do not understand how you can have Tora go for any title and give a shit about it. I honestly can't. At least Bea and Konami finish matches that we know of. I'm bored of it. I'm sick of it. I am fucking done with Oedo Tai. Really am done. And the fact that this is on a Korakuen as well. Why the fuck was this on a Korakuen? Why? What did we get from this? Because Bea's next match isn't even with fucking Queen's Quest. It's against Syuri from Donna Del Mondo. And I'm perfectly aware that Syuri was in the semi-main, fine. But this was dog shit. It was awful. It was the shits. I hate it, Chris.
I liked the as we know that we know of, like we haven't watched every Stardom show this year for this podcast. Yeah, I kind of just agree. They really put B over strong here, didn't they? Because like she got a visual pinfall on Momo, and like from a booking sense, since they cheated to win anyway, that wouldn't have been like a bad thing for Momo. It would just give her motivation to want to chase after B. But instead, DQ. And like a Mentora's on the mic going, how many times do we have to beat you down? It's like, well, you haven't won any of these beatdowns. Like, you haven't won. You've just, beat them down. So fucking what? That doesn't get you like a winner's purse or anything. What's your motivation here?
I'm just done with it. I'm not giving any more time to it. It wound me up. Everything about this match wound me up, and everything about their booking wound me up. So let's move on. Match 4, Future of Stardom Championship. The champion Maika defeating the challenger Saya Kamatani at 11 minutes and 19 seconds with the Enka Atoshi. I'm not going to lie, Chris. I had quite low expectations for this match. No disrespect to either of the women in this match. And honestly, they surpassed my expectations. I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, this was fun. I think what helped was the hot start. Like, this got into a very quick start where Saya hit her like a RVD moonsault off the apron, hit her knee off of Mikey's head. That was scary.
Well, there was a lot of chat that Saya hurt herself during the moonsault, and sort of that impacted the rest of the match. And honestly, I if that was the case, I couldn't tell at all. I thought she was very, very good in this match.
Yeah, she was. It'd be the only time she ever sold the knee, like, but she did miss her shooting star, and but also what I did like that sort of made up for that was just teasing the Phoenix Splash. Did a lot, like. When that's why secondary finishes are a good thing, because you get to the point where if you just tease them, you're like, oh my god, they're going to go for it. So that was a nice little bit of booking. Maika's power moves looks a bit better against a bigger opponent, so like that's a step in the right direction. Happy with that. Just nice little progression in this match. It's not going to blow you away. I'm not going to lie. It's not the best match you're ever going to see. It's probably not even the best match over these two shows, but I still enjoyed it. It was quite fun.
It's another mark in Saya Kamatani's book of being just the progress that she's made since the start of the year in ring. I mean, she still did the cartwheel having just sat in the fucking camel clutch for God knows how long, having Maika just worked her back. But that aside, she's constantly presenting new moves, the Phoenix Splash, the moonsault off the apron, the Kiwi Crusher that she broke out on the last podcast episode. She's constantly adapting, constantly improving, and that's brilliant. That's what I want to see from her, because honestly, at the moment, she is my Stardom most improved wrestler, and I'd be amazed if she doesn't win that come the end of the year awards. Maika, again, like you said, being the power person in a match, being the competitor who is the most physically dominant, you need to have someone who's willing to bump circles around you, and Saya did. I mean, she proper did the Will Ospreay, turn yourself inside out off the lariat. She really, really made Maika look like a powerhouse here. Proper let her beel her all the way across the ring. Really, really good. I enjoyed that hot start, like you mentioned. That moonsault made me go, yes, that looks fucking great. Well done. She looked a bit nervous, bless her, as she went for the ropes. But I think I would be as well. I'm going to do this for the first time. I am very, very close to the barrier. But overall, a really, really good match. These two had really good chemistry. It was far better than I thought it was going to be. I gave it 7 stars. I thought it was a good, solid defense for Maika. And then the second person Maika beat for the belt, Saya Iida, came out to challenge next. So, first of all, Chris, what did you give this? Second, are you looking forward to the Saya Iida Maika rematch? Third, does Maika win that? And fourth, if she doesn't, who challenges next? Because we are rapidly running out of competitors.
Okay, so I'll start with the match. I also give it a 7. It's past my expectations. I think that's mostly because the triple threat for the title is a bit of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, a little bit, definitely.
So that sort of tricked my brain into thinking, oh, this isn't a great pairing. When in reality, it's a good pairing. It's just they weren't put in a position to be good last time. And here, in terms of like the Saya thing, Saya Reed is literally the only other person unless you're going to have the children. Because I think the Rookie Stardom title is like it's people under 18 or with less than 2 years experience, I believe. Off the top of my head, I might be wrong. So yeah, unless we start like bringing the children in, there's not really many people who are going to do it. Like, but like at the end of the day, like that belt is a prop more than most belts are. Like, I think it's literally just fair to sort of solidify who they care about. Like, they had it on Utami, and like she basically never defended the fucking thing. So I really don't care if the future of Stardom Championship isn't defended again until Micah loses it.
Yeah, because even looking at someone like Mina Shirakawa, she made a debut in August 2018. So even if she were to win it, she can only have it until August 2021. So
I think that's the issue of like age or experience sensitive belts, is that you're not going to have a very deep division. Whereas like someone like the SWA belt as a mid card belt, yeah, when it's on a native worker, it's not really that, unless in a normal year it's basically restricted to a revolving door of foreign workers. But when it's on someone like B, she can just feud with anyone over it. So
yeah,
I think, like, honestly, you've started like the reason we have it is because having a title match on like a marquee is better than not having a title match. But really, I've never seen a future Stardom match and went, yes, please.
I don't even think it's that. I don't expect this to blow you. I mean, Micah versus Saya Kamatani is a bit of an anomaly, really. You know, as is Micah versus Saya Iida, I suppose, where you've actually got quite experienced competitors, even though they only have 2 years ring experience. They are very good workers. Whereas, you know, looking down the roster, you've got Rina, Hina, Ruaka, Hanan. You know, I don't think they're ready for titles. I don't think they're ready to hold. I mean, you could potentially maybe put it on Rina, having just had her turn. I mean, we don't know what the status of this Lady C is. You know, it's a professional debut, apparently, against Saya Iida. So, you know, I'm not expecting wonders from her.
Unless it's Chris Guys. It could be Chris Cyborg. We haven't ruled.
I can promise you it is not Chris Cyborg. I believe it's Mayu's Rookie that should have debuted before.
Yeah, but imagine if it is
just strolling in. Oh shit!
It's like, okay, an actual okay.
I mean, we don't know who this ZZ is either, which is something, but
ZZ Top.
Yeah, it's Billy Gibbons. That's exactly who it is. Just comes out to Sharp Dressed Man. Oh, that would be incredible.
Yeah. And you're just looking at it going, hang on, there's several things wrong with this.
Do you think Saya Iida beats her for the title?
No, because they're building Saya as like a plucky underdog seeking that big victory. That storyline hasn't been going on long enough for a win to be massive. And then you kind of have the sake of, you want Micah to look as cool as possible, and at some point she's going to lose that 6-person belt. So having that future Stardom Championship just helps solidify, especially to like newcomers, this is someone to look out for.
Yeah, fair enough. Match 5 then. Syuri and Natsupoi defeated Starlight Kid and Mayu Iwatani at 13 minutes and 20 seconds with Blue Dragon. Chris, this was a cracking match.
Yeah, this is great. Bombs flying everywhere, and so when Syuri throws a bomb at a fucking mute and completely hit. Natsupoi continues to unfortunately ran out of Greatest Showman jokes that I can naturally put into a review. And like, I know that makes Rob very happy, but quite frankly, I think it's the end of an era. And I don't quite know how to do, like, you know how like when you have like a massive project, like in any part of life, be it like schoolwork, whatever, and then you finally finish it and you're like, damn, what do I do now?
I do, but also it's the last show, the Greatest Showman, and I also don't give a shit. So, you know, there is that, I suppose.
But the Greatest Showman is so good.
Give me your damn thoughts on the match.
It was good. Again, Siri and Mayu have a chemistry that I'm always going to be here for. The high-speed sections between Natsupoi and Starlight were fucking class. The bit, especially when we both first get in the ring, with lucha bullshit. I love it. I love that lucha bullshit. Just solidifies for me that this is the greatest show. I can hear you hating me on the other side of Britain. But yeah, then Mayu and Shuri get in, and it's great. And then someone actually takes a pin, and they don't cop out of the fucking draw. I'm just overall happy, but this match was just very, very good.
I enjoyed the fact, like I said before, that Shuri wrestled 2 different matches. She wrestled a high-impact sort of strike and suplex-based match with Mayu. Jesus Christ, that release German was unreal. But then she wrestled a very quick fire match with Starlight, you know, and made Starlight look very good. In fact, it's one of the matches that I didn't necessarily knew I wanted. And I'm sure that we mentioned many, many podcasts ago, I think when we talked about Stardom is Again, and we spoke about how much Starlight and Suri worked well together and how much we'd want to see that match. And this solidified that, because honestly, their exchange was absolutely fantastic. I love that the Kichan bomb is becoming the new Kokeshi, in the fact that she never seems to hit it without being slogged the fuck off. It's just going to get to a fact when we're like, Kichan bomb makes her happy.
That's just never... But like I think I've seen that move hit a handful of times the whole time I've been watching Stardom. She always just slips off.
Also, I'm quite impressed that's our second Honma reference on this podcast.
Well, he is secretly amazing.
He was. He certainly was. I loved that closing sequence, and then Suri just literally stopping her dead with that buzzsaw kick, and that blue dragon, that looked fucking brutal.
Yeah, it wasn't a good time to have a body.
Certainly wasn't a good time to be Starlight Kid, was it?
No, definitely not.
Yeah, overall, thoroughly enjoyed this match. Makes me really, really want to see the Grab the Top versus MK Sisters match from today's show, Night 7. I can't wait to watch that. But overall, I proper fanboyed over this match. I gave it 8.
Yeah, I'm feeling it on this one too. It's definitely the best match of both shows for me.
Right. I have a feeling we're going to disagree on this match. Match 6, white belt. Giulia, the champion, defeats Himeka at 19 minutes and 47 seconds with the glorious Driver 2. Chris, opinion.
That's right. I'm wearing my hoodie, and I think I got some pot noodle shit on it earlier because it smells funny. I'm going to have to throw that in the wash. Anyway, this match was good. It was much better than the 5-star match, which I wasn't at all a fan of, because this actually had more to it. I liked how like Himeka sort of became more cocky throughout their last match, whereas here she just sort of came in cocky, like going right after Giulia. It's like, I don't fucking care if you're my leader, get in your fucking place. I like Giulia getting more aggressive as she went on, because she sort of got outclassed at the start, and then she sort of had to fight away from the bottom, which isn't something we normally need to see with Giulia. The Stealth Viper from the top rope, that was kind of cool. Not miscommunication, but like she found it hard to get Himeka upper points, which makes sense, but like that glorious driver was pretty glorious. But overall, I enjoyed this a lot more. It's an enjoyable match. It's a good, really, really good match. But at the end of the day, this pairing was never going to create fireworks for me, and it didn't quite create like fireworks, but it, it had a bonfire. And that's more than like no fire. So
there was lots of things for me to like about this match. I mean, I liked their 5-star match, but I agree, I think this was better. I enjoyed the first visual of Giulia having to walk past Tam to get to her new opponent, as though she was walking past her previous feud to this brand new feud. I quite enjoyed that little subtle visual. Himeka starting the strongest because obviously she won at the 5-star. She knows she can beat Giulia. She's in the ascendancy. Love that. And then it becomes about asserting dominance. Who is the alpha female of this stable? Giulia becoming increasingly desperate because of Himeka's power. I enjoy the fact that Giulia basically got from being overpowered by Himeka to slowly but surely beating her down. Grinding her down. She tries the glorious driver 3 or 4 times, can't get her up, but eventually she's grounded down that much with some fucking hard strikes between the pair. That striking exchange is great. Really, really good. And it felt organic. It didn't feel forced, which, Giulia's done those exchanges before in this year, and it's felt very, we're at this spot, are we? Whereas here it felt naturally organic. She was desperate. They were both tired, and it was a case of, I need to finish this match. I need to grind this woman down because that is the only way I'm going to beat her. I'm going to beat her with this move. And I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how panicky she was every time Himeka kicked out, because Himeka had the ability to beat it, and she knows that, and not many people have beaten Giulia. The only thing for me that sort of stopped it being that fire match was it didn't quite have that closing stretch. The reason that I love Japanese wrestling is I'm a big closing stretch mark, and that's why I love Jay White so much, because, you look at his match with Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, one of the things I loved in that match was just how good the reversals and that entire closing stretch was. It gets you invested in a match, whereas here I just felt like Giulia eventually got Himeka up and dropped her with the glorious driver. Now, I understand that as part of the story, Giulia is exhausted, as is Himeka. Himeka's taken an absolute punishment, as has Giulia, so they're not able, potentially, to do this closing stretch. I just felt like it just needed something else to just bump it to being that amazing main event. I mean, ultimately, this is a great match. But the Too Long Don't Read version is, it's a great match that wasn't quite a match of the year.
It was a really good match. Yeah, it doesn't quite make my match of the year, Fred. But to be honest, at this point, Fred's like 200 something matches long.
No, I enjoyed the violence of it. I enjoyed how hard hitting it was. I enjoyed the different parts to it. And overall, I thought it was a really strong 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it a 7, but yeah, it's still a really good match.
Yeah, and again, I do agree it beat their 5-star match. There was such a... Once Giulia sort of calls out Konami, because believe it or not, that's not the thing to come out of this this promo post-match. She calls out Konami accepts, so that's her next challenger, which, oh my god, yes.
That's the 3rd or 4th time since they came back, I think.
Do you know what? I don't care, though. I'm fully here for that match. Fully here for that match.
I'm trying to remember what... So we had one in 5-star. We had one in the... oh, no, it's only 2. One in the 5-star and that one in the white belt
So this
tournament.
will be the 3rd, yeah. Which, again, nobody is complaining about. Everyone is excited for that match. So I'm fully on board for that. Once Konami's gone, Giulia then cuts. Something for you, Chris, which I know that was a big thing for you with Giulia when she first debuted, was she wasn't able to, or she struggled to connect with the audience with her post-match promos. And they seem to be quite forced, they seem to be quite by the numbers, they seem to be quite scripted. Here, she cuts the most heartfelt promo about how times have changed for her for the better over this year, and it was amazing. It was it was heartfelt, it was honest, it was filled with emotion, and because of that, she connected with the audience, which is another way that she has massively improved as this year's gone on. Because, like you said before, there was those opening promos, and she would say something, and there would be no reaction from the audience, and it would be quite uncomfortably awkward.
And what was even worse, that she tried to break the awkwardness, and it would make it more awkward.
Exactly.
But her Cinderella promo died a death. Her introduction of DDM died a death. But then, she actually cut a promo for once more feeling, and it was a good promo. It's well done, kid. You've been in the game 5 years and you cut a halfway decent promo. John Cena quote over.
I will say, I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, Giulia did a big interview, and she spoke about her time, especially her early time in Stardom and before that, and she talked about a lot of the hate she got. And in the wake of what happened to Hannah and everything, it really hit home, just how much these women have got to, and she talks about how she used to have fans, and then, loads of fans turned their back on her, and she was getting all sorts of horrible abuse. And, there was a time when she'd turn up to autograph signings and there'd be 3 people there for her. And, it'd be those 3 people that really supported her and carried her through to the point where she is now. And it was beautiful to see someone come out of the end of that, because it can be horrible. And reading what she'd written was really quite brutal. And what she's been through is really quite brutal. Again, in the wake of what's happened with online bullying and people thinking they're clever on the internet when in fact they're nothing but self-righteous keyboard cunts.
No, that's the thing, because one thing I can see from us saying this is that, you critique people. At the end of the day, we make jokes, but we're here to critique someone's work, and even though I didn't like Giulia at the start, we've noted where she's got better. What happens a lot to wrestlers, and especially women wrestlers, for both a positive and negative, they get properly dehumanized. And you see it all the time, people either see them as something to be hated, you see the amount of abuse someone gets if they remotely speak out, or there's something to be idealized, there's some just proper weirdos who are fixate on one wrestler and that's their whole life. I saw a thread where someone going, my life started X amount of years ago, and that's when I think it was Micah the guy used. And just in both ways, women and Stardom's part of gets it, especially because of the idol culture in Japan. They just get completely dehumanized and just expect to sort of be perfect husks, and when that doesn't happen, people lash out, and it's gross.
I do understand that. Well, no, I don't. I think it's ridiculous, but I know,
that's fucking disgusting.
I know what you mean. Whereas, from a different standpoint, from potentially fans that are not Japanese, you've got people who just seem to think that, and I'm not going to spend ages on this, we've talked about it before, people seem to use Twitter as a vehicle because it's a faceless game. You haven't got to face your accuser, you haven't got to face the people that you are abusing, the people you are saying these things to, and effectively it's a tweet, it's 140 characters, or 240 as it is now, and you can just send it and you haven't got to think about it again. And people don't understand the lasting damage that things like that do. I mean, someone who said these horrible things to Giulia, they probably don't even know Giulia is referring to them. It's water off a duck's back, whereas things do stay with people. And we have seen firsthand, as Stardom fans and as wrestling fans, as fucking humans, we have seen the damage that shit like this can do. And it annoys me to a ridiculous degree that people still do this, that people still think it is okay to abuse people online, to say ridiculous things online, to say, they wish people were dead. Why would you say that? Why would you say that about anyone? That's a ridiculous thing to say, but they just, it's only banter, it's only on Twitter. Who the fuck cares? If you say stuff like that, you are a terrible person. Stop it.
What always gets mad to me is when people like just randomly put their at in the middle of the insult, like the person's at. So it's almost like they're whispering behind their back while making sure they're in earshot.
Just ridiculous. And
yeah, there's a reason I let you handle the Twitter side of things.
Yeah. There are times, mate. There are times. But more power to Giulia, and to be perfectly honest, it makes me respect her even more as a person. The fact that she's handled this with, let's face it, decorum, grace, and...
Yeah, this is the first third of it.
Absolutely fantastic. And again, we've not always been Giulia fans. I'm not going to come out and say I'm Giulia's biggest fan. I'm not. But we would never abuse her as a person, ever. We've criticised her in-ring work because, quite frankly, it wasn't that great when she started. However, we've said on this podcast, in the last 4 or 5 episodes, just how fucking much she has improved.
Yeah, and like we may have made jokes about like her promo game, but like we don't like if we ever accidentally did that, I'm sorry, but like we never go out to like actually attack someone's person.
I will just say the final thing to add to this is, I don't know if you noticed this, but obviously as DDM were all in the ring and sort of Giulia's signing off, you've got everyone doing the DDM pose, and you've got a very, very teary Himeka doesn't do the pose and instead is staring very, very jealously down at the belt from behind Giulia. And I thought that was a really, really, really good visual to end on. The fact that Giulia came out on top, but Himeka is sour, she's lost, she's humiliated, but she's not finished. And I thought, what a fantastic way to end this show. The fact that you know there is going to be another match down the line. There is going to be another moment down the line because, yes, Giulia is the leader down at Del Mondo right now. But it is only at the moment. You've got a feeling that Himeka is still coming for Giulia.
Like, I don't know. She doesn't seem like the type of person to care about hierarchy. Which, to be fair, good, eat the rich. But
hierarchy, hierarchy, maybe not. Dominance, I think she cares a lot about.
Yeah, like she doesn't want to be the background player of a faction.
Exactly. She wants to do it her way. I mean, she doesn't strike me as someone who would fall in line, quite frankly.
Yeah, we have a Batista Triple H situation on hand. A Diesel Shawn Michaels, a Chris and Rob.
I was wondering where you were going with that. So let's talk about Sendai Cinderella then, which the card was announced this weekend for the 15th of November, the next big show on Stardom's calendar. We'll preview this in a little bit more detail next week. But I just want to read through the card as it is announced, and Chris, you can give you brief thoughts on what has been announced so far and basically what is tickling your fancy, let's say. So we start with the Future of Stardom title match between Maika and Saya Iida. We've then got a 6-woman tag with Starlight Kid, Hanan and Riho taking on Saya Kamitani, Hina, and Lady C, the aforementioned Lady C, who will be debuting. We have mentioned her quite a bit, so I'm not going to mention that anymore. We have got another 6-woman tag with Tam Nakano, Mina Shirakawa, and ZZ, who will be debuting, taking on Natsukatora, Saki Kashima, and Rina. I guarantee that will be a DQ win for the Stars team. We've then got a special singles match with Momo Watanabe taking on Himeka. High-speed title match, which suddenly makes sense as to why Gokiken Death has been kept so strong, because we've got Azumi taking on Gokiken Death. SWA title with Top Gaijin, B. Priestley taking on Shiori. And then the 2 main event matches, White Belt Wonder of Stardom title match, Glorious Giulia taking on the Submission Sniper Konami. These are the nicknames on the card, by the way. And then the main event is Mayu Iwatani taking on Utami for the World of Stardom title match. Overall, Chris, I think that is a really solid card. What about you?
Yeah, that's going to be really fun. I'm disappointed that you weren't just making up those nicknames in the fly.
But I should have said, shouldn't I?
But yeah, this is just a fun sort. This is what a Korakuen would be during normal times.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
Of those matches, which is the one you are most looking forward to? Now, obviously, we're both massively looking forward to the main event. Mayu versus Utami has the ability to be a match of the year contender. It has the potential. So taking that one out sort of contention for a moment, and to a certain extent Giulia and Konami as well, we know what they can do, and we know it's going to be really, really good. What else are you looking forward to on this card?
I'm a sucker for a high-speed match.
Even with Go Kick and Death?
She did all right last year as high-speed champ.
She was Death Yamasan then. Very different gimmick, Chris.
Very different. I mean, we run over ring and Death a lot, but aside from that, very, very different. Yeah, it's going to be an uncanny valley, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like I watched Blade Runner recently, and that fucked me up less than like it dealt with what it actually means to be human. But nah, a Death Yamasan match fucks me up a lot more than Blade Runner.
I'm looking forward to the SWA title match. I think Syuri and B will put on a really, really good match. I think if we're going full chicken shit heel with B, which we absolutely should do, because I don't know if you saw at the press conference, B jumped Syuri and instantly regretted it because Syuri just instantly turned the tide and started beating the shit into her, which was hilarious.
I think it would be funny if B came out of Ospreay.
It would be quite funny. It would be good. I'm looking forward to Momo versus Himeka. I've seen quite a few people theorize that Momo is on sort of a curve of redemption. Obviously, she's taken a lot of losses recently. She lost to B at Yokohama Cinderella. She didn't win the 5-star, which her stablemate did. So, there is certainly redemption to be there. I've heard a lot of people say that she's going to be the red belt champ at the anniversary show. And basically, good things are going to be coming into play for Momo, and that this is the start of that redemption angle, that she's first going to beat Himeka, then she's going to have another big victory at Osaka, then year-end climax, and finally take it to the anniversary show. If that happens, I'm all down for that. I do think she beats Himeka here, because, as I've said, she has taken quite a lot of losses, and as Natsuko Tora incorrectly stated in her promo, she has taken a lot of punishment. Like, not necessarily losses at the hand of Oedo Tai, but Oedo Tai always seemed to get some manner of upper hand. I say some manner of upper hand. A chain hanging on her. So she needs a victory. She needs a high-profile victory, and I think this will be the start of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just completely agree. I have nothing to add.
Right then, Chris. Shall we end it there? We'll be back on Sunday. So what date is Sunday? Just to make sure. We'll be back on Sunday the 8th, where we'll be going through the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League shows that we have missed, and we will be previewing in a little bit more detail the Sendai Cinderella card. And then, of course, we'll be back next week, or the week after, should I say, to actually review the Sendai Cinderella card. Now, that is on the 15th, which is the Sunday, which is when we would usually be recording. For obvious reasons, we won't be able to review it. So we'll be talking, me and Chris, about when would be the best time to do that, and then we'll put it onto Twitter and Discord, showing you and telling you when we'll be recording. But we'll be back on the 15th to record our review of the next bout of Stardom Tag League matches. Just before we sign off, Chris, the update to the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League blocks. In blue block, top of the pile is Momo AZ with 6 points. Tied in second are Grab the Top and Colour Me Pop, both with 4 points. Black Widows with 3 points. And Dream H with 2 points are at the bottom of the pile. Red block, we've only had a relative handful of matches in the red block. So currently joint top of the pile with 2 points are MK Sisters and Crazy Bloom. Crazy Bloom have only had 2 matches though. We've then got Aphrodite, who have got 1 point out of 3 matches. And then bringing up the bottom, we've got Winggori and Devil Duo with 0 points. So, final time, Chris, because I imagine the next time we talk about this in any detail will be a little closer and we should have an idea of who is going to win. Who do you think is going to top the block? Who do you think are the finals? Do you still think it's going to be Grab the Top, or do you think Momo AZ or Black Widows, are going to take it?
Yeah, I'm still fine with my original pick. However, Color Me Pop has a chance.
2 matches, 2 wins.
Yeah, and like they've beaten 2 of the best in Giulia, as previously discussed. That makes Steph Yamason the best wrestler in Stardom until she was beaten by Rena. So.
That is true. Anyway, let's sign off then. So thank you very much for listening, guys. We really do appreciate it. Please go and check out the podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, subscribe, download, leave us a 5-star review, comment. It really, really does help us out. Thank you so much to the people that already have. Thank you. It really does help us out, like I say. You can go check out the website, www.podmania.co.uk, where you can check out all our archived episodes, as well as all of our match ratings, including the ones that we've gone through tonight. You can check out the podcast on Twitter at the Stardom Cast. You can check me out on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Chris, where can they find you?
The Greatest Showman Official.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll talk to you guys again soon.